All right, everybody. I am so excited for today's episode. I get to have my friend Tracy Martin on the show with me from Straight Consulting. Tracy, thanks so much for being on Hey Docs.
Oh, you are so welcome, Jill. It is my honor.
Yeah. One of the reasons that I wanted to have you on the show is not only are you just one of my really dear friends, but I think you've got so much knowledge in the industry and in helping out practices. And so what I wanted you to do in case on some rare chance somebody listening does not know who you are, can you give us just a little bit of the Tracy Martin 411 and a little bit about the Straight Consulting, your company Straight Consulting?
So, my name is Tracy Martin, and I started a consulting company. I think we are in our ninth year now, surprisingly, actually, at that point. But I don't think anybody knew anything about me until I don't know. They still don't. Who knows? I started this company because I was a TC for a very long time. In fact, I've been in ortho for about gosh, 18 years now, 17 years now. And I started as an RDA and I held every position in ortho practice, but I did not know that I was going to fall in love with being a TC or that I had a sales bone in my body. But as a TC, we got such great pearls and wisdom from the consultants of the time or at the time. And as I was going to conferences and I was applying these great strategies, something wasn't quite clicking for me. And maybe it was the demo that I was in, who knows? But I started to notice that if I adjusted some things and I really changed to a more casual conversation with people and I lost some of that formal touch to it, we just got more intimate quicker. And I thought, okay, how can we roll out some of those strategies into other areas of the practice? So TC is where it came out of, and I ended up acting as a in-house practice consultant before starting my own consulting firm. And we came out as Straight Wire Consulting, if you remember that whole brand. And then we quickly dropped the wire when a line was like, "So you don't like aligners? You're like anti-aligners? What's your deal?" And I was like, "Oh no, I'll take your money. I would happily, yeah, no." So I dropped the wire, and we became Straight Consulting. And I feel like that brand seems to fit my direct approach, as some would say, that sassy redhead from Texas who likes to work with teams and doctors and in organizations and tend to rush past some of the fluff and go straight into the work and working on redesigning processes and systems with a lot of focus on millennials and Gen Z and just buying habits all around. Yeah.
That's great. And I love one of the things that I really loved about what you do and where you specialize, because I feel like now in the world of consulting, there's a lot of us that kind of have our own little niches where I think in generations of past, maybe it was consultants that kind of did everything, which is good or maybe not. I guess you could call my bluff on that and be like, Jill, is that really the case? But what I have really appreciated about what you are doing and have done is really bringing a light to there are different ways to get patients to say yes to treatment. And I think, especially knowing, and I've been saying this, and I know you have too, that we have multiple generations in our practices now. And I can tell you, I've been in this over 30 years now. What I did as a TC back 20 years ago is very different than what is happening right now in our TC rooms and our consult rooms. What I would love for you to talk about, because I think you have just really coined this so well, and I know you really dive into this, is that as we all know, millennials are the largest generation right now in the US. And I think that we could both agree that they've got some very unique expectations when it comes to healthcare, when it comes to how their kids are going to be treated. And I just want everybody to hear it's millennials who are the parents right now in our
Yep.
practices, not Gen Xers I used to be, or not the boomers of the past. It is millennials and younger parents, even are some of our Gen Zs right?
Right.
That young, if they were young parents. So it's kind of crazy to think about that generation coming in. So I'm wondering if we can just start off, because I'm talking to the expert here, on how are you coaching practices now to tailor their messaging. And I know when I say sales strategy, but here's the deal, guys. Anybody that's listening, treatment coordinating is sales.
$100%.
If we haven't figured that out yet, that is something we have to understand, especially in the generations going forward. There is definitely a technique to getting patients to say yes to treatment. So I'm wondering if you wouldn't mind breaking it down a little bit. We'll just focus, let's just say, on millennials and the needs of the patient, so parents and patients, and maybe dump in a little bit into that Gen Z as well. Would you mind breaking that down a little bit for us?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, you're right. Millennials have taken over at this point. Now, you're still going to see some Gen X coming in for sure,
Of
like,
course.
especially as retreatments, something has shifted and they need some work. But millennials are the main demographic that you're going to be selling to, whether you're selling it to them as a patient or to them as a parent. I am a millennial. I'm a millennial mom. I am the ideal demographic of right now today. And I happen to really understand the TC side of it and the sales side of it too. So I feel like I'm in a really great spot in my career. I'm not going to toot my own horn here, but that has aligned. And millennials are a different animal in the way they want to be communicated with, in the expectations with the office, how much they want to interact with your brand. And so many of the things that we used to find taboo in ortho is loved and cherished by
Yes.
millennials. Like, I love how you're like, guys, it's sales. And I feel like even saying it because we've been like drilled into us that, yeah, no, it's not. It's they're coming to see me. They want my expertise. They want, like, they want the best of the best. So therefore, they want me. They want my craft. I'm Picasso. And that's just not how this generation works. We've got computers in our hands and we've had a computer in our hand at all times.
Yep.
Always, we're in front of a screen all the time. We've had Google forever. We now have ChatGPT. Like, we have constant technology, and they are the most pragmatic generation that we've ever seen before. In a world where we used to very much need that doctor, millennials don't feel like they necessarily have to. Doesn't mean that they don't want them, just doesn't mean that they feel like they have to. Customer experience is more important than it's ever been. The millennial consumer doesn't know Jill Allen's ability to line up that smile arc the way that Tracy Martin can line up that smile arc. They just know that looks pretty and I would like that on my face.
Yep.
So how easy can you make it for me to get that? Is the mindset. They're always going to be willing to invest more in their children, just like any parent. And their priorities have changed as they've moved into parenthood. And just so we're clear, like, millennials are now in their early 40s. That's where we're at now.
That's the crazy part. Really, you want to be like, oh, millennials. Millennials are not the 20 somethings that everybody like somehow missed that they grew up.
No, they have grown up. They have big boy and big girl jobs, and
Yes.
they've had families now that they're responsible for. And they are the most narcissistic generation that we've ever had as well. Like, they are the people who came up with the selfie, a
Mm.
picture of myself called the selfie.
Yes.
So they want treatment. They're in a very aesthetic world, but they are looking for convenience and they're looking for quality and they're also wanting good pricing. And yeah, as far as this generation goes with financial arrangements, that's probably one of the areas that they're most taboo with compared to the other ones because millennials can't save money for the life of them. They can make money, they can spend money. They make they are all about the almighty monthly payment, but they aren't going to necessarily be a ton of your painful. Now, a lot of depends, of course, on your demographic and where you guys are geographically, and there are still plenty of millennials that make enough income to easily pay
Yep.
in full. So I don't want to say that they're never going to do it, but the vast majority of them are going to be looking for an easy payment arrangement. And they're okay with outside financing as well. They do this in all different areas of their life, but they're looking for just ways to get what they want, how they want it, when they want it. And the things that they do outside of ortho are totally fine with bringing into ortho. So we got big on virtuals and virtual stuff during COVID, but virtual was always going to be something easy for millennials. I get on a virtual call with my kids' teacher
Yes.
for parent teacher conferences. I can't tell you the last time I went to the school was. Like, virtual, being able to do remote monitoring, just virtual appointments is an easy thing for millennials because they're used to it in other areas of their life.
Yes.
Financing the same way. Like, they want things quick and easy, and they want it to go with the doctor who's going to require less time out of their day for this, like less appointments. And that is going to matter more than the craft that they could do, like
Yeah.
the Picasso. They still want very good quality results, but I think that they would actually choose the convenient side of it over the ideal ultimate result.
Yeah. I think you bring up such good points, and it's really something that we have to be thinking about and considering as we are moving forward 2023, 2024, 2025. As we're moving forward is our older way of thinking about things. If I've got some docs on here that have been practicing more than 10 years is very different than I will tell you how my startup docs and my docs that have been practicing 8 years or less are doing it. And it is just so important that we understand that our patients really get all of this. It's just foreign almost to our own industry because they're getting this in their healthcare. They're getting this with their dentist. They're getting it with their doctor when they get on and do a virtual meeting with their doctor, or like you said, at their schools or whatnot. I just feel like we're a little bit behind the times sometimes on bringing things that are already happening and somehow feeling, oh, we're doing a disservice to our patients by not giving them 20 minutes or 30 minutes of our time when really they're asking, you know, I've almost already committed to you. I've already crowdsourced you. I already know that you do a good job. I've already looked at all of your pictures. You seem like a cool place. I'm just doing my final check in to check the
Hmm.
final mark to say yes. So that kind of brings me to a question for you on how do you think thinking about this, orthodontic practices can really start to tailor maybe some of their messaging and their sales strategies to appeal to what we're talking about, to appeal to this demographic.
Good question. So ways to start. Okay, one in their advertising for sure. So you're going to need to be on target ads, like number one. That's this group is on Facebook and social media at minimum 2 hours a day. So that's where I would go to meet them there, first and foremost, to get them to look at me. So you're going to want to use words like affordable. Affordable is a good word for them. Easy is a word that's going to attract them, right? Simple. You're going to want to make it very aesthetic focused. You are going to want to talk about customization. They want things to be unique and customized. They don't want standard. They don't want basic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are good. Showcasing minimal amount of appointments, that the time requirement is going to
All
be,
those pinch points
yeah,
that would keep them from coming in. Now you want to be highlighting.
removing hurdles left and right. Like any kind of roadblocks, any kind of hurdles, anything that's going to take up more time or energy even is something I would be looking to remove. And advertising too. This was so this so we were I think I did a presentation at MOPC about when it came to advertising that this was the most diverse generation that we had ever seen, culturally diverse than any others. And I think I said that I should be able to quote my own self, right? But I want to say it was like 46% non-white generation. And it was the largest that we had ever had until Gen Z came. Now, Gen Z has actually gone over 50% non-white. So making sure that your advertisements, you're also showcasing lots of different shapes, colors, different
Yes.
types of families. It's got to be multiracial families because we like a blend. We don't like, yeah, they like a blend. And that's a thing that I see in a lot of practices is when I first start working with some practices, I'll find that we're not really working the social target ads nearly like we could be. And I find that the advertisements that we do tend to look a lot like the doctor
Such
and
a
like the
good point.
website.
Yes, such a good point. Yep. Yeah.
And website is like the number one thing to be focused on. And to be clear, you and I are both not marketing companies. Nobody pays us to digitally market, like to build their website. But by all means, they can ask us how their website should look or what things they could change about their website. And we'd be happy to help them with that. But your website today for millennials, that is your driver's license. That's your ID. That's your everything. There is no millennial that's going to come into your practice that hasn't looked at your website. Can you imagine going into a brand new restaurant that just popped up and didn't even look at their website, look at their menu, look at who they
No,
are, what they do,
or
they
even
serve?
finding them without checking them out. You're reading reviews, you're again crowdsourcing, that information. So no, absolutely.
Yeah. And so when we work with the practice and the doctors hasn't done their website in 10 years and they're like, wait, I have to buy a new website. I got to start over and it costs how much? And their eyeballs get huge because it's not $3,000. It's not it's changed. And it's a huge investment that you have. It's like a requirement. It's a must
Yes.
have. It's like your license.
Yeah, yeah. If you're past to play, make for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are some strategies that you are talking about in the treatment coordinating room, helping TCs and practices really optimize what's going on in there and maybe some differences from where we're going to where we've been?
Oh man, you just set me up. So thank you, my dear. Okay, so one of the biggest things that we're focused on is getting the millennial mom or the millennial buyer, and all of this applies to Gen Z as well. Gen Z is like just a millennial on steroids. They're just an even better version of millennials. They are hopefully what will save us. But for right now, millennials are our major focus because they are our biggest consumer. Where we're focusing on is getting that millennial buyer the content that they need before the exam, before they come in and take time out of their busy life and your busy schedule to get themselves 80% ready to buy. Getting them the content that they need to, like you said, to know who you are, know what you're about, know what services you offer, know what that process looks like, know how easy or hard that is. How much does it cost? And that's the big one is being able to, that's the biggest taboo one, actually. Let's go ahead and just double underline that one.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Bold capitals. Yes, we want you to start telling them how much treatment costs in your office and don't give them a $4,000 different range of, it could be $2,000 to $10,000 or whatever, like we've been used to doing. These guys are very pragmatic. And if you won't give them the answers, they're going to go find it. And they're going to be more attracted to the people who are transparent and who are offering this information up easily. So having price transparency is a big one in there as well. And that is probably the most uncomfortable taboo one for
Sure.
our
Sure.
offices.
Yeah.
So
Even me as a consultant makes me go, are you sure? Are you sure we want to be talking about that?
we're told never to do that. Don't ever do that. It's true. We were told that, but we have a different animal.
Yeah.
This is a
Yeah.
different animal, and they are going to find your transparency sexy. They are going to find that confidence is sexy, and that's where they're going to love that about you. So we typically will do a mixture of this, whether this information is on your website, whether this is built into your scripting and into what your admin team is talking about on the new patient calls or on our TC calls. And our TC is doing this consultation before the actual exam day itself. So that prep work has been a big focus in getting them 80% ready to buy. And there are some other strategies that you can do too. But then on the flip side, once they do come in, making that 20% easy to just knock them over the finish line. So removing all the hurdles. And even when I talk about price transparency, what we're going to be talking about for the rest of this year is similar to a presentation I did at OrthoFi's Nexus, which was going ahead, and we're going to talk about it at Ortho Evolution. We're going to be talking about having flat fees, which is something that we don't normally do. We do
Yes.
them kind of based off of complexity, based off of fees. Let me see your mouth first and then I'll tell you, but having flat fees that we're very confident in and putting that on our website so that way our patients can go ahead and be ready to buy. And if I'm being totally honest, I'm actually working on my future. My next phase after this is I'm working on actually putting those flat fees on your website and then adding a module that I'm starting to develop where we can go ahead and the millennial mom can go on your website, pick what type of treatment she wants, what modality she wants it, and then she can go ahead and drag and drop that into the shopping cart, and she can go ahead and customize her own payment arrangement. She can go ahead and get pop-ups of, "Hey, would you like a retainer program? Would you like some bleaching while you're
Love
at it?"
it.
"Oh, I
Love
sure
it.
do."
Love it.
Put those in there. And then I can go ahead and pull my credit card out and make my down payment. And then I come into the practice to confirm all this, to go ahead and sign the contracts, take an x-ray, make sure there's not a canine palatal across everything
Yep.
that's gonna ruin it this whole plan. But that will act as a credit on your account until we go ahead and have that final visit before we actually start treatment. So
I,
that's
I-
the buying process.
yeah, that's great. And I just love, and I know some people are out there probably like cringing and whatnot, but here's the deal, guys. This is the future. How exactly this works out, every practice is going to be a little bit different. Every culture within their practice is going to be a little bit different. But I think exactly what Tracy's talking about, it is coming. We are in a generation where we are used to shopping online. We are used to picking out what we want ahead of time and knowing what our costs are going to be. And I think from offices that are thinking about this, it's not that far away and not that foreign. We just have to get ourselves comfortable with what that is going to look like as we're moving forward. So
Slow
that's great.
ourselves down. I think
Yeah.
we got to get out of our own way.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. So let's talk a little bit about, I know you dived into this a little bit, but how important do you think technology is and will be to our millennial parents and patients and Gen Zs as they're coming into the practice? And then I want to just dovetail on that into the marketing component of it too.
Yeah. So technology is so native to these guys that it's the absence of it that is, and that's a sore thumb to us.
Yeah.
So
I want you to just say that one more time because that is a really good point. Just say that one more time, Trace.
yeah. So millennials and Gen Z they're so native to technology that the absence of it in your practice is what's going to stick out like a sore thumb.
That's
It's going to be
rich.
the turn off.
I love it. Love it.
Yeah, and so like when we see there are still many of us that have on our websites or on our marketing materials, we say we are state of the art because we were all supposed to say we are state of the art. Duh. I hope so.
I
That's
hope we are at this point.
like saying we are nice.
Yeah.
Yes. I hope you're nice. That's a hope. That's like a minimum, sure, minimum requirement. But what they're looking for is they're looking at how you use technology to enhance the patient experience or the efficiency of your team. That's also equally important. It doesn't even just have to be about like what's in it for me. It's also about how do you use it to have better efficiencies, which ultimately we hope is going to come back to the benefit of the consumer. Yeah. And so marketing in a way of showing us how you use technology is where you want to focus versus just showing that you have technology.
Yep. 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 That's great. That's good. And have you found that there are, and again, neither one of us are marketing companies, but have you started to see patterns in, I've got my view on this, but what is effective digital marketing strategies out there in regard to what works and maybe what doesn't work?
Ooh, okay. You're going to have to throw yours in too, but I would say, I think ultimately my brain will always go to first and foremost your website. And does it have the content on it that will move a consumer into actual conversion, into treatment? Does it have all of the answers to all the questions that they would have? And how are you and how is it displayed? Okay. So like Gen Z, for example, shuts down to a block of text. That does not work for them. Video is easily digestible for both the millennial consumer and Gen Z. So is there a lot of video on your website? And is there a great explanation on not only what you offer, but how do you get it? How does it work? What does that process look like? Where does it come from? Just educate me. And this is why, and again, going back to the idea of getting it in video form as much as possible, like doctors or even your teams on the non-doctor days could easily be recording everything that they want patients to know, everything that you say in the office, all of your post-op instructions, all of your, this is what happens when you get this, when you get clear braces, this is what happens when you get aligners, this is the pros and cons to each of these and blah, blah, blah. All of that should be on video and all of that should be on your website. And that's how you're going to move your consumer. That's how you're going to move the buyer to actually buy and show your expertise.
Yeah.
Video is the way to go with them. And that's why TikTok is so big. Because TikTok is the new YouTube. It's just, it's education that yes, there's entertainment all over it, but they go there to learn. Both of those generations do. I think from a digital marketing standpoint, your website is the first and foremost thing that you need to invest in, and don't go cheap on it because it is what represents you. Then after that, I go on offense and I go straight to target ads, and I target the neighborhoods and the people that I want, the ideal customers for me. And so target ads is another area that I would absolutely be putting my budgets in. And you curb back on other budgets, right? You curb back on other things, but you also still, from a marketing standpoint, you still need to be in the community. You still need to show like millennials and Gen Z both want to see how you're giving back. Gen Z especially wants to see that you have charities that you are active in, that you're not just, they participate with this charity. We want to see you, like, how are you going to bring a positive impact to the world?
Yeah.
Like, those are the areas, I guess, that my brain initially goes to when it comes to digital marketing. And then everything else is secondary, but it depends on what our budgets look like. But those are the first place I go.
Yeah, that's great. And I'm going to agree with you on all those areas, and just even add in, I know when you talk about Google business page, that doesn't sound sexy at all. But let me tell you, Google is driving right now. And if we don't have even our Google business pages up to date, and pictures, and our services on there, and reviews, I always tell my docs, you need to be getting a minimum. And I work with a lot of younger docs, but a minimum of 3 reviews a month. And that's minimum, because if you think about just us as consumers, when we go out and buy, when was the last time, even on stinking Amazon, I'll wrap myself around an axle trying to decide between 2 different, I don't know, pairs of socks, because I can't, figure out who's got the better reviews and who's got the most latest reviews. It all
And how fast you
matters.
can get it.
Yes, and how fast you can get it. So I would just add that in there. You and I could do a whole side talk on all of the marketing components of it, but that would be the only other thing I would add too, is that you cannot, that reputation management out there online is key now more than ever. And you can't be like, yeah, I did that a couple years ago, or, oh, I set that up, but I don't know anything about it now.
And like we're talking about it, but mention it too, so we're talking about the SEO side of it and that search engine optimization, and those reviews impact that greatly. And so does how your website is performing and such. And when we come across the practices who you say, okay, who's doing your online marketing? Who is doing your SEO? Are you paying monthly for that? What does that look like? And how many of us don't? That's, again, part of that taboo area that we're like, I have a monthly call with my people and I have no idea what they're saying. And you're normal if you're saying that. If you're thinking, oh gosh, that's me, don't worry, you're normal. That's the majority of us.
Yep.
So I think
even
ourselves
that's
there.
changing. Even that's changing. We're going to see some big changes even coming up with that, where there's going to be more and more accountability as we can really track what's going on. So let's talk just a little bit as we wrap up here. Let's talk a little bit about, I don't know, what we'll call wow factors in practices, and what is this new generation? And it's not new, because again, it's not new, but new maybe to some people in what we think about patients in our practice. What are they looking for, do you see, from experience? So when they come in and they're interacting with your brand online, and now they're making their way into your practices, what do you think and what are you seeing the parents looking for, maybe the kids looking for. And I love that you even said there's some differences even between what our millennials are maybe wanting out of experience and what our Gen Zs are looking for out of experience. So, do you mind talking to that a little bit?
Yeah. So in the on exam day, like what are some things that we need to see or what they might be judging in comparison to the others? Because we know they're going on at least 2.5 consultations. So what are they comparing you to? Okay. So besides the online side, because of course you are another tab on their browser, when they actually come in, let's say that you're one of those 2.5, they're looking for what is their, it's, are we hitting the feels most importantly, right?
Yes, the
So, do
vibe.
I feel like I can see myself here? Do I like the people I'm hanging out with? If I'm gonna spend 30 minutes of my life with you guys and I'm gonna sign up to do that every 8 weeks of my life or 6 weeks of my life, am I gonna enjoy that time or just Becky up front giving me ugly eyes? What is happening here? Do I have fun? Or am I going to be with my friends? So we're looking for casual scripting. We're looking for connections with you, and we're looking for forgiveness because as a mom, not even just as a millennial mom, but all moms, we're like, how many days are we just feeling like we are the hot mess express? And we're just looking for a moment of reprieve. And so we're looking for amenities and service that helps us feel like this is a place where you can recharge. This is a place where
Like 30
you,
minutes.
yeah, 30 minutes. We are just, here's a cup of coffee. Here is a quiet area away from your child. Here it is. We are running on time. We are not adding to your to do list. We are constantly looking for ways to take things off of your to do list. We will communicate with you in the way that you want to be communicated with. We're going to make sure you get the most out of this experience as possible and make it as easy as possible to do that. So we are actively looking for ways to make everything in life better and easier.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah.
So from a practical standpoint, that could be we are going to find a really great payment arrangement for you. We're going to show you how you save money by working with us. That's a big one. We are going to automate everything we possibly can for you.
That's a huge
And
one.
yeah, just like automation. I mean, look at how just going down the rabbit hole of automation, look at how we learned that millennials wanted to be texted and not called. Like literally, and she's gonna hate me for saying this, but my girlfriend calls me, and when she calls me, I just pick up the phone. I go, "Yes, Gen X. Whatever you were gonna say to me, I would have happily appreciated in a text message form." Because they wanna live an asynchronous life. They
Yes.
want to they still wanna be connected with you, but they wanna do it when and how they want to. Making sure, that we're getting digital forms, digital mobile friendly forms, people. Like
Yeah.
we do not have printers. Digital mobile friendly forms that are quick and easy to fill out, that you don't pass me a folder of stuff that I've gotta find a place in my house for. No, I'm just gonna throw that away as soon as I get home. And there were marketing dollars you could have put towards your digital marketing right there instead of buying those glossy folders that they don't want. Just digitally send all of those forms automatically or any contracts automatically over to the mom. All of the post-op instructions should already be on video form. So you're handing your patient a tablet at the end of the bonding, watch so that they can watch the video that you've created that goes over all of how to take care of our braces or liners or whatever, the home care. And then, hey, while you finish watching that, I'm going to go ahead and text mom the link to our YouTube to that video so that way, like when you're home and you're brushing tonight and you're doing it for
Yep.
the first time, you can just watch it real quick as a refresher because you're getting a lot of information right now. And
Right.
then you have that resource. So things like that.
Yeah. Those are great tips, Tracy. So as we finish up here, I hate to do this because I know that you and I could just
Do
keep
it forever.
going and going. So I'll have you on again and we'll keep going. But I want you to talk a little bit because I'm sure there's a lot of listeners that are like, "Oh my gosh, Tracy is just giving out some really great information." And especially docs that have got existing practices and they've got TCs and whatnot. Can you talk a little bit about your TC intensive course. And then, of course, a meeting that you and I both are involved in, Ortho Evolution as well.
Yes. When it comes to TC coaching and trainings and such, we have a couple of different ways to get people trained. One is we have a TC Academy with Trapezio that's sold through Trapezio. So you go to their website for that. That is an online training course that you can do. We have a live in person workshop, and it's a weekend of super fun. And it feels like we're just having a unicorn fest those weekends because TCs are such unicorns. And then you get
Yes.
100 of them together, and it is like the best weekend. I look forward to that every year. And that is called our TC Mastery course. And you can go to our website, straightconsulting.com, and you can look at when the next one is for that. I can tell you that I think that we still probably have some information from our last one that just ended in February. So it, I can tell you that the next one that we are having, as that is being put up on the website, is in November. So we'll have that in Fort Worth and at the stockyard. So that should be really fun. We'll go out to Billy Bob's and go dancing with all those girls, and
Nice. I
that'll be
love it.
crazy.
I love it.
And then, but I'll teach them how to two step. So it'll be fun.
Yeah. Become a
And
master at a TC, at being a TC, and then a master in training at two-stepping.
at two stepping, exactly. Yeah. Two things you walk away with. Two skills. And then so that's TC Mastery. That's in November. And then Ortho Evolution is coming up hot and quick. And that is something that we are very excited about. So Jill, Dino, Michelle, and so Dino Watt and Michelle Shemin and myself, the four of us are hosting an epic conference, in my opinion. And that is at the PGA headquarters in Frisco, Texas. And it is a brand new Omni hotel that has just finished being built. In fact, they are opening up this weekend,
Oh,
and it is going to be fantastic. It is going to be a real workshop style as well. But to me, I think it's the coolest event because it's the first time that we'll all be speaking along with Nick Bradfield and Shannon Patterson, and we will all get to panel each other. So you and I are like, we love geeking out on this stuff, but we don't get to do a presentation and then talk about it together afterwards.
yeah.
So we'll have the ability at this conference to present, and then we have 15 minutes blocked off after each of the presentations or 20 minutes afterwards to all of us consultants also give our 2 cents on it. Or I may say something and you're gonna be like, "Oh, Tracy, I don't know about that one.
Little round
I'd,
table.
I'd
Yep.
rather have my doctors maybe look at doing this instead." But to have that fun, healthy debate and to have, there's no one way to do something. So to have different perspectives on similar topics, I think is a lot of fun. And we don't get to do that in any other conference throughout the year. I'm not scheduled to do any of that anywhere else. Yeah. So if you are not registered for Ortho Evolution, I'm going to selfishly plug that for the both of us.
Please do.
You need to go to ortho-evolution.com and register. It is for doctors and office managers only this year. This year is a smaller, more intensive, we'll call it, workshop style setup, where we're only going to be with doctors and office managers because we are going to talk about some very tough, sensitive subjects. And Jill, do you want to say what you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm actually going to be diving into that really sensitive subject of pay and where our pay scales land on our P&Ls and team, just the team transition that we've been having and all of that. Yeah, it's not the most comfortable subject, but it's going to be one that we need to talk about. And it's just a hard one to talk about in front of a group of team members that this is really going to be focused on doctors and office managers, as you said.
I think that's awesome. They need it. Like you said, they need that, and we can't talk about it anywhere else. So here's the stage to do it, the platform to do it, for the doctors to be able to ask questions about it and figure out how to plan things out. I think it'll be super helpful and it'll be a
Yep.
fun weekend.
It sure will be. So, Trace, thank you so much. And I'm so glad that you were on the show. I just want to make sure you also tell everybody if they want to find out about straight consulting, how you can help them, or they want to sign up for the TC Mastery course, one of the courses. How do they do that?
Yeah, they just go to straightconsulting.com and you can reach out to us. There's a little widget on there that says talk to an expert. And then you can just hop on our calendar and we can meet up for a little 30-minute consult to talk about what's going on in your practice and how we can help you. But along in the website, you can also go to the TC Mastery page. There's a marketing mastery page. There's some info on the Trapezio course. And yeah, and worst case, just get me on social because
Yeah.
on there too.
Because we know, and don't call Tracy because she's not answering her phone.
No.
So, Trace, as we finish up, one of the things I love to do on Hey Docs is finish up with a speed round.
Ooh, let's do it. This
Are
sounds
you
fun.
ready
Okay.
for the speed round?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So, describe your style in one word.
Aggressive.
Love it. Love it. What are you listening to or watching right now?
Oh, Systemize Your Life. It's a podcast. I love it. I love organization tips and yes,
Great. That's great. Always looking for new ones. What do you do just for you?
get my lashes done. It's my favorite appointment. My
Yeah,
eyeballs are taped shut and no one can get a hold of me.
that is great. All right. And then do you have a hidden talent you'd want to share with us?
Oh, hidden talent. I do like to sing.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. We'll have to meet up at a karaoke bar sometime. You can sing and I'll hold the mic.
Oh, I'm getting drunk first. I'm doing that.
And then what's your big, hairy, audacious goal?
To own 4 companies by the time I'm 40.
I think that's a wonderful goal. Again, Trace, thanks so much for being on the show. I know that everybody listening just got so many pearls out of this. So until next time,
Yay. Thank you so much, Jill. That's been awesome.
absolutely.